I will introduce Bernard Lynch of Community Paradigm Associates and Michael Wise. I believe your title was clerk of the search committee. It was a long formal title, but whatever it was. And to guide us through the process.
Sure. Well, thank you. Thank you for having us here tonight for this. I believe this is the only item of your business for you tonight. We're here tonight to present you, and Mike's going to actually present you with the names that the committee has selected to move on to the board. But I'm here just to talk a little bit about the process, to sort of refresh everyone's memory and to bring everyone up to speed on exactly what we did during the latter part of the process. As you recall, we began the process several months ago when we were retained by the board to we came out, we spent quite a bit of time with the department heads, with each one of you as members of the select board, and we held a community forum. And we gained, we received feedback from people as to the characteristics, the attributes, the skills, the qualities we were looking for from the next town manager, and what the specific issues were that we wanted the people that would be applying for this position to be aware of and be skilled in as they applied for the position. We then went out and we did the necessary advertising with the Massachusetts Municipal Association, the International City and County Managers Association, and we circulated the position profile to people in our database that we knew were looking for positions, as well as people that we thought might be good candidates for the town to consider. We tried to scatter that profile, that posting, as far and as wide as we could to build up the number of applicants that the town would have. In the end, we received 22 applications, a number of very strong applicants on paper, and we met with the screening committee that you appointed, search committee, and we went through the resumes of the individuals, and we narrowed the field down to 6 candidates that we felt would meet the qualifications, that had the necessary qualifications, that had the sort of the reputation of being quality candidates for the town. And we proceeded to schedule interviews. We ended up, I believe, only interviewing 5. I believe we lost one member resigned or withdrew at the last minute, and we moved forward with the candidates that we had over the course of an afternoon and into the night, conducting interviews. As a result of those interviews, and through the questions that were developed with the committee chose the 3 people that you'll be looking at tonight, or hearing about tonight. And I think that they're all very good, high quality candidates. They provide you with some options and as to who would be the right fit for the town. We've done the necessary background checks on all of these individuals in terms of their criminal history. They are all clear. We also, which is always a good thing, and we also have contacted references for these individuals, specific references that they've provided us, as well as other people that we know these people. All of the reference checks that we have done have come back very positive. Again, each one of the candidates brings different strengths and different qualities, but really in a case like this, what we find is oftentimes, as long as they have the skills, the background, the experience, it turns into who's the right fit, personality, work style, to work with the board of the select board in making the best possible town manager for the town. So that's been our process, and I'll let Mike tell you about the candidates that we have, or that they have for you, and then I'm happy to come up again and talk a little bit about the next steps in the process and where we go from here.
Michael Wise, I'm the recording secretary of the body. The chair is out of town right now. Sean would, I'm sure, prefer to be here himself, but he's, well, you know where he is. The committee did come to a unanimous recommendation on 3 names. They're in this package you're about to get. They are Jonathan Edwards, Mark Pruhensky, and Kenneth Walto. Just very briefly, Jonathan Edwards is the chair of the select board in the town of Whately and has been active in local government in Franklin County for many years. Mark Pruhensky is now the administrator of the town of Richmond, and of course, many people know him from his service here at Great Barrington as the health agent. And Kenneth Walto is now and has been for the last 18 years the town manager of the town of Dalton. I think all other questions will be asked and answered by looking at the resumes and letters and references in your package, which you're about to get. And if there are any other questions you might have about the process, but I suspect you want to look at the detail.
I made one especially for you.
Thank you.
The committee recommended these three names as a package. We did not rank them.
Thank you.
Did all candidates receive unanimous votes?
The package was voted as a unanimous package.
Did
There was no other vote taken by the committee.
Each candidate was voted on individually?
Correct. Each candidate was not voted on individually. The committee acted on a slate of 3 candidates.
But that slate had to be determined.
We did determine that there was a candidate we interviewed that we did not select for it. And after discussion, we determined to send these 3 names forward as a slate.
So, why don't you go ahead with the rest of the process if we have.
Sure. Well, as I believe we've arranged or scheduled, there are interviews planned for next Tuesday evening and next Wednesday evening, with the plan being to do 2 on Tuesday and 1 on Wednesday. And then setting aside time Wednesday evening as well for the board to consider all of the information that they receive as a result of the interviews and as a result of looking at the resumes and the references. The board would then work to make an appointment that evening, I believe is the plan. Yes. And which is commonplace with most communities. I have some draft questions here that we used with the screening committee that we'll provide to the board, and you can take a look at those, and then if you'd like to see some modifications to those, members can contact us directly, and we can modify those questions a bit if there's something we're missing, something in particular that you'd like us to take up or to add into the pool of questions. That we could do that. Some of the other, another idea that I know that was asked of us at one point in time was setting aside time the night of the interviews for some type of opportunity for the public to meet the candidates. We just went through another community, Wentworth, with another community that had a similar interest. And what we did in that community is that the interviews take about an hour, and then have a brief meet and greet for the candidates, for the candidate that was just interviewed to meet with the public, and then the second interview that Tuesday evening, again, a short meet and greet after that, and then repeat that same thing on Wednesday, and then again, that would give the board a chance to step back and consider what they had heard, and then also see how the candidates interact with the members of the community, and take that into consideration as well.
Can you make sure that that schedule gets publicized as quickly as possible so that people do have the chance, since it's just a week away?
Sure. Actually, I pretty much know right now what that
So we get
schedule.
it to Helen to post that whole.
Yeah, I will get that to her first thing in the morning.
That's great.
Yeah. So that's generally the process that we use, and it's been effective in most communities.
Is there a way to open up questions to members of the public during the interview? Have them ask questions, or does that get
No,
legally dangerous?
It gets a little dicey to do that. What I would perhaps suggest as an alternative is if people, if there are specific questions that people might have, they can either, again, contact us to add those questions in, or have an opportunity to bring questions with them that the board could then consider whether
In
to.
writing.
In writing, right, yeah.
So I would prefer they do it ahead of time through you, because, and we give them a deadline, so we ask, unless there are specific questions of one candidate that we, which
Ask the
would be
same.
dicey, we would ask all three candidates.
Exactly.
And, or the other alternative is when they meet the candidate, if it's a quick question, they can ask them while they're shaking hands.
Right, right. It's, you want to keep this as neutral a process as possible, so that all the candidates are treated the same, and that it be seen as a professional interview as opposed to a political interview.
When would you like the questions by in order to have them ready?
I would think by the end of the week, by Friday,
Okay.
they could send those on to, happy to, I mean, once again, I don't have business cards. I actually do have business cards, but they're not with me, so.
You're going to send us the questions that
I
you
have
have,
some
or you
tonight.
have them, you
I
can
do.
give them to
Yep,
us.
I can give those.
I
And
would
then
like-
just email
Yeah,
him directly, not to all of us,
Do those
obviously.
then become public, the questions?
The questions are
Right now?
public, because they're handing them out right now, yes.
These are suggested
Yeah,
questions.
these are the questions that we use by the,
If there's something else that we feel like we wanna ask, is that something that we should contact you with? or-
I would say send it on so that we can put it into the right structure. That might be the best way to do it. But I don't want to, one thing I think is important to stress in this is that these are just, again, these are suggested questions, but they're not the only questions. It's not like you read down and that's it. What we really want these interviews to be is a dialogue. So as these questions are asked, the candidates are going to give you answers that are going to raise more questions. And you want to be able to drill down and do follow-up questions on each one. If you're talking about their experience with budgeting, for instance, or finances, you want to be able to ask them for specific examples of how they've carried out a particular approach to budgeting. If you're looking into management style, what's been their approach in dealing with that? We're dealing with increasing transparency in government, in local government. Other examples of what they've done to make this possible. You want to be able to drill down and get into the specifics of each one of those.
so what usually happens, we'll assign the questions to board members to ask, so they'll ask 1, 2, and 3, Bill may ask, and then we'll let the candidates know that at the end of the first each question, there'll be follow-ups, and any board member wants to ask a follow-up, may ask a follow-up, and, because sometimes candidates may not answer the question surprisingly, and you may want to put them on the spot to get a better answer.
And what you may find too is, on the other hand, you may find that as you ask a question, you'll get an answer to the next question. And so you can perhaps rephrase that question a little bit or skip over that and move on to another question.
Board, do you have any questions? Anyone have any? Yes, Eileen.
What time on Tuesday?
I believe the first interview is scheduled for 6. I believe that's
That's correct.
what we had planned. So we'll meet at 6 and go 6 to 7. The thought again being a meet and greet, so 7 to 7:30, then a 7:30 to 8:30 with a meet and greet until 9.
Yeah.
Wednesday, I have kindergarten open house at Muddy Brook from 5 to 7. Obviously, I don't think I need to be there the whole time, as I have somebody who's going to kindergarten next year. Is there any chance the meet and greet could be 6 to 6:30 on Wednesday, and then the interviews start at 6:30?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that, so that way I have time to go to that and then get here in time for the interview, because this is,
Yeah.
they're equally important.
Yeah. And I can't think of any disadvantage that would be to the, and I don't know who the
Okay.
third candidate is even, so I don't see where that would be a disadvantage to the candidates.
I
so.
just feel like as we're talking about schedule for everybody in the room,
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
wanted to make sure
Thank
that
you.
that was
Yeah, no, absolutely.
brought up now, as opposed to later.
6 to 6:30 is the meet and greet then.
On
On
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Right.
Then
And
6:30 to 7:30 will be the interview, and then we'll deliberate after that.
I'm
Okay.
just curious, in a regular job interview, there's quite, oh,
Only
Eileen is exempt from the microphone.
okay.
I probably shouldn't be, but I am.
It's not a major point,
That's fine.
but in a regular job interview, there's really kind of a greeting and a acknowledgement from the potential employer that you are happy to have them here and that this is how we see the job and we'd like to know more about you. I mean, to have this fire off as just a question and answer event could be rather cold and uninspiring to the interviewee. So I just wonder how you handle
Sure.
the human aspect of it.
Oh, well, we're all about that.
You're baking cookies?
Actually, the very first question that we put in there is exactly that.
Yeah.
Thanking them for being here, giving them the opportunity to tell us their story, sort of a story of self. Who are you? Why are you interested in this position? What is it about Great Barrington, the Great Barrington Town Manager position that excites you, that interests you, that made you apply?
Yeah.
So we get a feel for who they are right up at the front.
Right.
It's rather than getting right into, tell us about your budgeting experience. It's really designed to warm them up and to give a sense of who they are, with some sort of comfort level there. Absolutely.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay, before I get into citizen speak, in case we do have some, next Monday night looks like a marathon meeting, is, especially with the warrant and et cetera. 6, okay? Yeah, I tried to start it earlier as opposed to going to 10:30. So, okay, that's, just want to make sure. Board have anything else? One more chance. Citizen speak time, anyone?
I do have another question
Yeah.
on citizen speak time. This is a wholly different issue. As you know, there's a citizen's petition challenging or attempting to revoke the plastic water bottle bylaw. I'm here representing the committee that has sponsored that, the Environment Committee of the Berkshire Women's Action Group, Jenny Clark. And we have a request that because there are so many items on the zoning, particularly the zoning portion of the town meeting, that citizen's petition vote be placed in front of the zoning section.
So the answer to that is next Monday is when we set the petition.
That's right.
So we'll do that, we'll talk about that
Could you
Monday.
talk about that,
Tradition has
considering-
been that all citizens petitions are at the end, and that's something the board's gonna have to decide if they wanna keep or not. So,
That's right. There's no law about it. It's
no,
just a
it's
tradition.
tradition.
And
We're all about
essentially-
traditions in New England, so. So come Monday and be prepared
To,
Plead your case.
to plead your case and listen to us.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Pedro Pachano, 5 Abbey Hill.
Yes.
So a couple months ago, I applied for a position on an economic development committee
Yes.
that was going to be put together, and I haven't heard back. So I'm just wondering if you can give me an update on that.
Yeah, hopefully on Monday night, there'll be more. The problem we ran into is there were specific slots on the Economic Development Committee. You know, for instance, someone from a educational institution, et cetera. And the administration was having trouble filling those slots, so we've been kind of on hold with that. That's why we wanted to do it all at once. We haven't done any of it until we have it all done, so.
And you said on Monday?
I'll know better Wednesday when I, so one of us will email you Wednesday and tell you if it's on Monday's agenda or not.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Thank you very much.